saying to the therapist, I love my wife, is not the same as looking at your wife and saying, I love you. And that sort of captures the difference or the power of what expression is. It's very important in working with emotion to know what you're doing. So we've developed 6 principles for working with emotion, which are based on sort of evidence of how to work with emotion. And these are that we help people to be aware of emotion. Being aware of emotion turns what's passive or happens to you into something that you're an agent of. You now know what you're feeling and it's yours. So the first principle is awareness. The second principle is expressing emotion. And expressing is not the same as awareness. Expression is where we use a chair dialogue and you express it to somebody. But for example, in marital therapy, saying to the therapist, I love my wife, is not the same as looking at your wife and saying, I love you. And that sort of captures the difference or the power of what expression is. And then there's emotion regulation, which is both how to, when emotion is too overwhelming, how to help people move it back to a level at which they can process it. And then there's reflecting on emotion. This is where insight, understanding patterns, creating new narratives occurs. This is where you reflect on your emotional experience. But then the 2 most important principles have to do with transformation of emotion. And the first one is changing emotion with emotion. And here the notion is that you can't really change an amygdala-based emotion with reason, that it's impenetrable to reason. And the way to change emotion is with another powerful, more powerful or stronger emotion. And then the final principle is the corrective emotional experience, which also involves changing emotion with emotion, but now it's emotion in the interpersonal relationship. And in therapy, it's often to do with the therapist. So if I expect that I'll be shamed when I say something to the therapist, but I in fact experienced being valued and validated, that's changing an emotion, but it's coming from a real relationship. So these are 6 principles that are very important in working with emotion.